Hey guys, and welcome to another Factorio Workshop. As always, I'm joined by Matt Zuri.
Greetings.
And we have a couple builds for you here with the new science packs. Now, I do want to point out ahead of time, we have not set up all of them, simply because it actually just took us like over an hour to set up these two. And we also want submissions from you guys. So we've just done the blue packs and the military ones for now. Maybe in a future video we'll come up with our own builds for the others, but we also want your submissions for those. And I will explain a new submission process at the end here. But I'll let Zuri get started on this build and pretty much everything in relation to this.
Yeah. So we're going to go off a base rate of 1 per second for pretty much all the science. Just so you can use the old red and green science builds that we've showcased before, I do believe.
Mm-hmm.
So the crafting time is 12 seconds, so we use 12 of them. And since they changed the red circuit crafting time to 6 seconds, we can just put 6 of them, but that's a good integer multiple. So I decided to direct feed them. So we import the green circuits and the plastic. You could probably import it from the top and wrap it all the way around instead of using a splitter here if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And well, that covers the red. You need 1 per second engines, so that's 10.
Yep.
Pretty simple, except for this little trick here. I want since I only need 1 per second and it crafts at a base rate of 2 per second, I want this machine to operate half the time, so it has 2.5 gear machines feeding it. And half the gears go to the engines. So that's what this splitter does. It pulls off half the gears and puts it over. A little after the feeding, but the line will back up.
Yeah. Yeah, this works. We've tested it. It is working at pretty much full production. It does seem to jump up and down once in a while, but you could work this out with a few minor changes, of course.
Yeah, and this actually does require a red belt input for iron. It eats a little bit more than the yellow belt can feed.
Yep.
But I'm thinking if you're working on blue science, you probably already have the red belts available.
Yeah, I would hope so. I mean, if you can make red circuits, you should be able to make red belt.
Yeah, otherwise this just uses low-tech stuff, and most of the power poles can be replaced with small poles if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And I do believe that'll cover it.
Yeah, this one, I'm actually noticing these two some of these are not working, which is strange, because we did test it for several minutes previously, and everything was working. I'm not quite sure what happened here. But, math-wise, this should work. It may have something to do with, like, just the travel time, perhaps?
Oh no, okay, I figured it out. I forgot
Oh.
to add the inserters back after I moved them.
Okay, so we're missing a couple inserters here.
It doesn't need both of them, but... So, yeah, okay, fixed on the fly. There we go. Sorry about that.
No worries. There we go. So we'll blueprint this, and then, so that should kick in. Maybe once we look at this, we'll check back and make sure it's working. So now with the military packs, pretty much the same concept, except you'll notice we actually only have 5 of these. And the reason for that, and this is really important to note because I keep forgetting it over and over again, is that these guys, the military, the production, and the high-tech all produce 2 per cycle, you can see there. So we want a base rate of 1 a second, but they give us 2 per craft, so we only need 5 of these instead of 10. And then we've just based all this off of that amount. So we have 4 grenade machines, because the best way I like to think about it is if we were doing 10 machines of these, just hypothetically, if we had 10 machines doing this, that would make 1 a second, and the grenades and turrets take 8 seconds, so we would need 8 machines, right? But we've cut that in half, so now we need 4 of these, 4 turrets, and I mean, the grenades are really straightforward. You just input coal and iron, and you're good to go. And then the turrets, we've done a little bit of interesting stuff. Some people may not like it, but we've direct inserted gears because the ratio, if you do 1-to-1, it's quite a bit overkill on the gears, and 1-to-2 is not really enough either. So we've done this. We're using a little trick here. We have one long-handed out here grabbing from the gear assembler and inputting in, and then we have one directly behind it taking iron. And the reason for this is we also have a copper iron mix belt back here, but these guys take a lot of iron, 10 iron or 10 copper and 20 iron. So we actually need a mixed belt and a secondary belt of iron to feed this. And then we also just have a belt of iron feeding the gears. So this is extremely iron hungry. And then the piercing ammo, Zuri set this up, which is quite nice. And yeah, I mean, you pretty much just did a 1-to-2 here. You've put this normal one in the middle, 2 of these guys. And this is slightly overkill. It's actually 1.5 piercing ammo machines to support this, but you obviously can't do 1.5, and we want overproduction instead of underproduction in this case. And then these take 3 seconds and 1 firearm magazine, and a firearm magazine takes 1 second. So one of these can definitely support 2 of these, because it could actually support 3. But that pretty much covers it, I think. This build is fairly straightforward. We tried to make it as compact as possible. You can see that we have like these belts all right up against each other just for compactness, and the turrets are placing on this middle belt. These are grabbing off the middle belt, and that pretty much covers it.
Yep.
So a good benchmark would be that we need, if we're doing 1 a second base rate, but to take into account the assembler machine speed, which is 0.75, it would actually be about 45 per minute. If we check our 1 minute graph, our military is about that average. It jumps sometimes to 46, 47, sometimes down to 43, and the blue is just the same. You could see it was 43, now it's up to 46 and 47. So both these are working pretty much fully once you average out the jumps. And I think that's it. Do you have anything else to add for these builds, Zuri?
Nope, other than it's ready to upgrade. Once you can upgrade these to tier 3s and maybe upgrade the belts, and then you have your fully upgraded tier 3 science production.
Yep. So yeah, just I guess the last note, as you might be able to tell already, these are extremely iron hungry, so you do want to make sure you have enough iron to supply these, especially if you upgrade them. That's going to be your main bottleneck probably. But yeah, that pretty much covers it. So blueprint for the blue, this whole setup, and as well as for the military. And then in a future video, like I said, we may do production and high tech, but also we would like your submissions. So in the description, there will be a link to a form, and this is our new submission process. Don't put it down in the comments, guys. In every video, there's a link to a form where you can go in. It's going to ask for like your username and a blueprint string, preferably pastebin. In fact, pretty much only pastebin is what we would like. Just a pastebin link, and it will go to us, and then we'll go through them like we normally do. So we are now taking submissions. So we would love submissions for production, high tech, pretty much anything else compared, for comparison, maybe blue pot and military pack builds as well. And anything else you want to submit, nuclear stuff, whatever it may be, send it on in, and I believe that'll do it. So until next time, guys, we will catch you later.
Later.